Hi everyone, and welcome to our video. Today we're going to be discussing the topic of message to women considering doing porn. And this is going to be great because we have two women here who have been in porn, so they can tell you the truth. So first of all, I just want to introduce myself. I'm JC. I'm the executive director of antipornography.org, a non-religious, non-partisan, non-profit organization. And why don't we introduce everyone else? Vanessa?
I'm Vanessa Belmond. I'm an ex-porn performer, stripper, escort, and webcam girl.
Great. And Jessie?
Hi, I'm Jessie Rogers, and I'm also an ex-porn star.
Okay. And we have our guest, Jason.
Hello, I'm Jason, and I'm a current law student.
Okay, great. All right. So, Vanessa, you wrote this article, right, about women considering entering porn, and you really told them the truth. So why don't you get us going here and just tell us what your basic message is to women considering doing porn?
My basic message is that you think it's going to be one thing and it's really not. And even when you do your research, like I thought I did, I thought I knew everything and that I was going to use the industry and not let it use me, and I still ended up really, really regretting doing porn.
Got it.
Yeah. You get screwed in all sorts of ways, not just on film. Like, by agents, by guys who, like, are trying to date you but are dating you for wrong reasons. Like, there's just so much shadiness that goes on.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, there's STDs and all that, and the porn industry never tells you that. Like, when you first get with your agent, I know they told me that it's no big deal, like, you know, it's safe, everyone's tested every month. And then when I got chlamydia, they told me, oh, that's no big deal, everyone gets chlamydia, just take the pill and you'll be fine. And they don't tell you that herpes is really common. They don't tell you about how sick you're gonna get. I always had strep throat and pink eye, and they leave out all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Like, when I first got in the industry, I got strep throat like at least 10 times. And like, I had to keep going to the doctors and to the hospital. There was one time, actually 2 times, that I had to go to the emergency room because I got so sick. And yeah, before I did scenes, like, the agents would tell me, like, oh yeah, it's safe. It's actually safer than having sex with civilians, you know, but 'cause everyone gets tested and all of that. But, you know, they don't get tested for everything, and they don't use condoms, so it's really not safe at all.
Yeah, and the testing, it's only once a month, and all it does is just tell you that you have something. It doesn't prevent, really, disease from being spread, because you've got that whole month where you're doing scenes, and you could still have a clean test but have something, you know?
Right.
Right. And even when you get, like, minor things, I know, like, I would get UTIs, bacterial vaginosis, yeast infections, like, throat infections. Like, they don't really care. They're like, oh, it's okay, you can still go do your job. Like, people would rather get sick as opposed to lose thousands of dollars. So...
yeah, you can't cancel because then everyone's mad at you. Like, I went to set with strep throat and stuff because I felt like I couldn't cancel, or the agent told me just go anyway because they won't hire you again if you cancel or if you don't show up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I guess the basic message is for young women going in to realize that they're not going to really be treated with, you know, kindness, dignity, and respect. That, you know, they're just there to be basically used to make money for the porn directors and producers, right?
Yeah, they don't care about you at all. They're disposable.
And, like, the performers aren't trained. It's not like a job where you need a degree, or like, even when I worked at Hooters, I had to go through training, and I had to, like, get this little, like, food certificate. Like, in the industry, you don't do that. You just get to set and do a scene. So, like, you can get injured on set, and, like, you'll never get compensated or anything like that. You'll have to pay all those hospital bills, all those medicines, like, all out of your own pocket.
That's right. I mean, like you said, you're at the doctor all the time.
Okay. Yeah, but isn't it that performers don't offer health insurance? I don't know if is that correct? Like, have you two ever been given any type of health insurance or anything like that in a way?
No, because you're an
never.
independent contractor. Yeah, you're responsible for all of your, health issues.
Oh, wow.
You don't get any retirement benefits either from porn, right?
No, in fact, it makes it so much harder because when you try to get a regular job, you have your porn all over the internet, and it's like you can't really escape it because everyone just knows you as the porn star.
And I guess you're not really going to be able to go out with any letters of recommendation from your former employers, right?
No.
Yeah.
Or if they gave
It's a
them
nightmare
to you.
trying to get a job.
Yeah, they can
After
say,
porn. I applied to so many places, and they were just like, they'd Google my real name, and all my porn would show up, and it was over.
right. Then they're going to wonder, like, well, what have you been doing the past 7 years, right?
Yeah, I had like a totally blank 7-year, like no work experience.
But what do you mean, Vanessa? Having sex wasn't great work experience?
And you can't really put down porn when you're trying to get a regular job.
Exactly. And not only that, eventually everyone's going to see that you did the porn, right? Your coworkers and bosses and your spouses and your children, if you decide to have children later, and your family.
Yeah, that's what I worry about a lot, is I'm never going to be able to date because everyone I date is just, I'm going to be looking at them and wondering what they've seen.
Yeah, or even like mainstream stuff. Like before I got into porn, I had a modeling agency in New York, and I did that for about 5 years. And, like now after all the porn stuff, it's obviously more difficult for me to get back into stuff like that. Because they're like, oh, well, your name is attached to porn. Or even if I try to use my real name, the industry, like it says on the release forms, they can release my real name, on the scenes and stuff like that. So it just sucks.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of leading from that is how I even came across that information that you just said. It's funny how they don't tell girls steps to becoming a porn star. They don't have that. But if you search on the internet how to make a porn site or how to do something like that, they'll tell you everything of how these girls, or how to pretty much make that company and what to do, and it's part of the contracts. And they show release forms online saying that those girls, if you do get into it, they have the right to do whatever they want with your name, your fake name, real name. So that's a scary thought, even as a male, knowing that it's imagined stuff that you're doing on your screen names right now at home. If you go and do something, imagine if everything will be attached when you apply for a job, or if anyone searches it.
That's a good thing to
Yeah,
remember.
it's definitely, there's not much privacy because my real name is totally out there. When you Googled my real name, all my Alexa Cruz porn stuff would come up. So it was even though I used a fake name, it didn't matter.
Right. So it looks like it follows you forever.
Yeah, it does. And it's just hard to explain to your family, to even just future friends. Like I said, whenever I meet someone, I always wonder if they've seen me in a gangbang or something, and are they just going to think of me as the porn star? So it's just hard to have a regular life.
Right. Nobody's moms would want their daughter or their son to do something like that, to get in that kind of industry. I don't know any parent that would want their child to get into porn or would be happy about something like that. It kind of ruined my relationship with my family for a few months. But then I slowly, they ignored me for a while, but then I started talking to them again. And then after I quit, we were all best friends again. They're okay.
Right, and now they can be proud of
mentally
you.
And mentally it affects you emotionally, just having, using your body, selling it. I looked at myself as just a thing or an object for so long that now it's weird to think about actually relating to people as a person, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was a commodity for so many years.
Right. It's kind of like having to totally reform an identity because you were playing a character for so long, right?
Yeah, and like I had low self-esteem when I got in the business, and I thought the business would make it better, and it made it so much worse, and I'm still dealing with that.
So all that attention from the fans, how great they say that you look and you are, that didn't do it for you, Vanessa?
No, because after a while, like, it gets old just hearing the same stupid crap and getting the same emails saying, oh, I want to do this to you, I want to do that to you. Like, they don't really like you, they just like this character and they just want to have sex with you, and it's not real attention or admiration.
Right, for you as a real human being, you know, Vanessa, the person.
Yeah, they don't care about you.
Got it. So what else should women know when they're entering porn? Because, you know, they all think, oh, it's not going to be like that for me. I'm going to make all this money. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to cross over into mainstream. It's going to be great, right? Because that's what the porn producers and directors and recruiters tell them. So is any of that true?
Money isn't even that great.
Uh-huh.
Because the money, I mean, it runs out pretty quickly, because how long are you really going to be able to shoot? I was lucky that I still got work after 7 years. Most girls get shot out and stop getting work after like a year or two. And even if they made a lot of money in those 2 years, it's like, that's not going to last the rest of their lives, you know? In the long run, it's not much money.
Got it.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, like, up front, but then it's not something that you can really, like, invest in or, like, do for the rest of your life and, like, keep making more and more money. You start making less money.
Got it.
Yeah, and the scene is out there forever. It's just a one-time payment that you get, but the company keeps making money forever and ever off this one scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy, too. Like, a message to girls, if you are going to do it and you think that you could play the game, it's already designed to set you up for failure. It's like blackjack at a casino. No matter how hard you try, it's going to be pretty hard to beat the house. And at the same time, it's like what Vanessa said, that they make so much money off of these girls that they're paying. Literally, they're paying pennies on the dollar to run their companies. And these girls are willingly accept it. Like, if you were going to do it, then charge $10,000 a scene starting out. Because I don't think girls really realize it.
Not even that. $1 million.
Yeah, you could charge
Because even 10 grand runs out.
Yeah, exactly. And if you charge a lot of money, like, girl, I don't think they don't tell these to the girls in the beginning, but the industry is only surviving off of those young girls and those girls willing to do it. If every girl started saying, I want 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand a scene, then you're going to see that, okay, well, they won't be able to do anything. The girls set the industry standard and the industry pay, but it's kind of this weird stigma that, like, oh yeah, you just have to pay them like $600, $1,000. Like, that doesn't, like, people think like porn stars make all this money, but if you look at it, like, $1,000 in one scene, and if they're doing however many a month, that'll range anywhere from like $1 grand to $6 grand, even 20 grand a month, which is still, if nothing will top 120 grand, 150 grand a year, which is if you go get a degree and do a job and do that, like, it's a crazy equivalent, but those people who are paying you that are making millions, and they get to use it for free. Like, if you were an artist, if you are, let's say, a rapper, if you were a musician, even an actress, you get royalties on your work. So they'll pay you up front, and they'll say, okay, here's 10% for the rest of your life every time we make $1 off this, you know? So that's something, like, if you really think that you're going to hustle the game, then you better come in there with knowing that, hey, okay, you should be charging this much money because of that. Whatever they tell you.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah, it's sad.
No one's ever going to pay you 10 grand. There's not even close. They would just laugh at you and tell you to come back when you're ready to take the regular rate. Because there's like 1 million girls out there. There's a new girl every day. You're disposable.
Exactly, and that's what kind of like shows it. Like, that's one thing. Like, I saw all this information from a site that's just like telling you how to build a porn site, how to do this. Like, there's so many girls who are willing to take so much lower that's what they'll do. They'll show you, like, go in there and ask for $5 grand, $10 grand. They would, like Vanessa said, they'll just laugh at you and say, okay, on to the next one. They don't care that you're a human being, that you have bills to pay, that you're valuing yourself. They care about, okay, I need to lower my overhead.
And you get all the girls that do drugs and all that. I mean, some girl that's on meth is not going to be like, well, I need $5,000. They're just going to take whatever they can get. Like, these girls, or the men too, that everyone's just too damaged to really expect them to all band together and demand higher prices. And even if they did, a new flood of people would come in and just take the regular prices. And ultimately, it's not worth it no matter how much you're charging anyway.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
It's not.
The price that you pay for the rest of your life, you know, of the regret of having it out there. I mean, really, and the money will be gone, but the regret will remain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just really emotionally damaging.
It is. And they try to keep you, like, as a sex object, not only, like, working in porn, but they'll try to get you, like, feature dancing gigs, which is, like, stripping, and then they'll try to get you, like, escorting gigs, which is a fancy word for prostitution. So that's why, you know, girls get stuck in that little circle of, like, stripping, escorting, porn, and, like, webcamming as well.
Yeah, because you feel like you can't do anything else, so it really just traps you.
Right, and then you're expected to do harder and harder things over time because they don't want to pay you to do the stuff that they've already seen, right? So you end up kind of crossing your own boundaries and doing like double penetration and double anal and gangbangs and all that, right?
Yeah, because when I first got in, I didn't even think I was going to ever do anal, but that changed really quickly because that's just the standard in the business now.
So really, you don't have much choice if you want to make any money, right? To automatically do things you didn't intend to. So Jesse,
that's why you always see even the women that start out really soft always end up going harder.
Yeah.
Right, that's the way it was for you, Jesse, right? You were only going to do some light stuff at the beginning?
Kind of, yeah. But I figured that it was too hard on me to just, like, you know, like, work 7 days a week and get penetrated in my vagina for all those days. So that's why I kind of resorted to other holes, I guess you can say.
Right.
So.
Yeah. We get what you're saying, right. So, I mean, just think how sad that is. Women out there, young women, girls who are considering doing porn, that your vagina is going to get so sore you'll end up letting people do other things just to give it a rest, right? I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, realistically...
Yeah, you start to think of yourself as just holes, you know? I mean, that's really sad. You think of yourself as an object or just something that you can sell.
Right. And how does it also affect relationships? I mean, for any young woman going in, how is she really going to have a healthy relationship with a partner, whether he's in the industry or out of it, right?
It's almost impossible.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know a lot of girls that are strictly lesbian performers usually have boyfriends and stuff like that. And that's why they're only doing girl-girl, because their boyfriend won't let them do anything else. But, like, if you do other things, it's not really possible to have a relationship. Like, I don't know any guy that would like to see their girlfriend have sex on camera.
Unless
or you
messed
get,
up.
like, the pimps, you know? You don't like the pimps or the guys that are... just want to have a porn star girlfriend. You don't get people that actually like you for you.
Yeah. There are guys in the industry that will want to date you, but just to make money off of you. So they're just basically using you.
Right, exactly. I think they're called suitcase pimps or something like that. I think that's what...
Yeah, exactly. That's what they call them on.
Yeah.
It is crazy on, like, the amount of resources there are just teaching males how to pretty much take advantage of women in the industry. It's crazy.
Sounds like it.
Suitcase pimps is the word.
And it sounds like they really just, the people when you start in the porn industry, like they're just not going to tell you the truth about it, because if they did, then you wouldn't even start, right?
Right.
Yeah, they'll never tell you the truth.
And like, you end up a worse person in general than how you were when you started the industry, because people will try to pull you so low in so many different ways. Like, they'll try to like feed you drugs and alcohol and like all this stuff, and like take you to parties and this and that, and it's very damaging. Like, a lot of girls get addicted to those things, so it's not good.
Sounds like a really toxic,
and you have to do
unhealthy
something.
world.
You gotta like numb yourself, or it's really, really unhealthy just for your mind and all that.
Right. Jenna Jameson talks about in her book, she says that she saw so many young women come in who were so sweet and so nice, and then she'd see them a year or two later, and they'd be all tough and hardened and with a bad attitude and really negative. And so it not only affects people physically and financially in their relationships in their personal life, but it also just affects their psyche, They just become less happy, less friendly, less positive people.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I know there was this friend of mine. He's a photographer, but he's like a mainstream photographer, and I would shoot with him sometimes while I was in the industry. And then when I got out of the industry, like, I was also like still doing photo shoots with him. And then when I was telling him about how I quit, like, he just kept staring at me. I'm like, why are you staring at me? And he was like, you just light up now. You look like you actually have a soul now. I'm so glad you're out of that industry, because you basically, like, when I met you, it seemed like you didn't have a soul.
Wow.
So that's what it does to girls.
Right.
That is so true.
Well, that could be a slogan, like on a t-shirt, porn steals your soul.
Yeah.
Or like whether you're watching it or participating in it. It's like there's just no positive energy within the porn industry. Like, it sucks it out of you.
Yeah, it makes you feel really empty.
It's very draining. That would be a good word to put it.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of women think that they're going to cross over, they'll just cruise through porn and go into mainstream. So how many women does that happen with?
What, like 1%? And that 1%, I mean, what do they really do in Hollywood? They don't become real actresses. They just play hookers, or they play themselves in some bit part. But like, even like Jenna Jameson, have you really seen her like in a real sitcom or on a movie or anything? I mean, not really. She just plays herself, or she plays a hooker.
Right. Same with Sasha Grey.
The roles she's gotten.
There, people will always like attach your name to sex. So not only porn, also escorting, stripping, and stuff like that. So those are the kind of roles that people would want to put you as.
Right. Just
if you want to do mainstream, I would say the last thing to do is do porn. Well, like if you want to be a real actress or something, that's like, porn is not something you want to do at all.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they might both be acting, in quote unquote, but like the difference between mainstream acting and like porn acting, like, so much more goes into a real Hollywood production as opposed to having sex. And I guess it's sad that some of those producers and whatnot kind of feed that, oh, it's so easy, but it's kind of like, it's unrealistic to say that porn and mainstream acting are any sort of equivalent just because you're acting or quote unquote performing,
Good point.
Yeah, and you could be so talented, and Hollywood isn't going to respect you because you did porn, and people in general aren't going to, accept you in a real movie, because all they know you as is a porn star. It doesn't matter how long you've been out. I mean, Jenna's been out for 6 or 7 years or longer, and people still only look at her as a porn star.
Right, and how many other things has she been seen in? Honestly, the things that I can remember hearing about her is that she's been in the news for being pulled over for drunk driving or things like that, or a fight with her boyfriend or husband. I mean, so it's not like she's taken the world by storm, the mainstream industry, since she left. So, and if she can't, well, good luck to anybody else, right?
And another thing I want to bring up, like, I was doing some research after I quit, and I found out there's a lot of girls, like, after they quit that commit suicide or have some kind of accident because they get so depressed and they don't know what else to do with their lives.
Right. There's a very high casualty rate in the sex industry in general, and that includes porn because it is really just prostitution on film, and it's just as damaging. On that topic, Vanessa, we discussed this in one of the other videos that you did, but you actually were so depressed in porn that you didn't overtly commit suicide, but you were kind of engaging in a slow form of suicide through, like alcohol and drugs, right?
Yeah, like the last year I was in, I just started drinking a lot and taking a lot of pills, and I kind of just hoped that if I got liver cancer, or that if I drank enough I would get liver cancer or something early and just die a lot earlier, so I kind of was trying to speed up my death, which sounds really terrible. But I think a lot of girls, or a lot of women in porn do that, and even the men too.
Right. Just keep drowning themselves in, substance abuse and hope it'll all be over or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. In different ways. Oh.
Right. Okay, everybody, we've pretty much covered all of the things that we can. I think if women who are watching this, considering getting into porn, aren't convinced by now, probably nothing else is going to do it for them. But why don't we just go around and everybody give their final thoughts. So, Vanessa, you once were that young woman, you were 16 and you were planning on getting into porn when you were 18, and, you had your goal. If you could talk to yourself at that age now, what would you say?
Obviously, I would say don't do it, and it's not going to make your self-esteem higher. You're not going to make as much money as you think. You're not going to be a star. It doesn't matter how much research you did. No amount of research prepares you for what porn is really like, and I regret it so much now, and I almost feel like I really ruined my life.
Wow, that's powerful. Okay, Jessie?
I'm pretty much on the same boat. People think that it's going to fulfill them, whether it's financially or improve their self-esteem, but it just makes it worse in every single way possible. And it's not going to help you mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, how the public sees you. Like, those fans that you think porn stars have aren't real fans. They're just people masturbating. So, yeah.
Right. You're just contributing to Kleenex sales, as Jenna Jameson once said. Okay,
yes.
Jason.
Pretty much. It's kind of the way the whole industry is set up. Like, you're designed to not succeed in a way with everything they do. And like, I don't care how good you are at guessing numbers. If you're playing roulette, there's no way to beat the house every time. You might think you have a chance. You might get lucky a couple times in a casino, but everything is designed to hurt the women just like it is in a casino, to not minimize the whole situation to like a gambling problem, because porn is obviously 10 times worse for the women, but it doesn't. Like Vanessa said, no matter what you think coming in, it's hard to beat a system that's rigged and designed to send you down certain holes and keep having you dig your own hole.
Wow. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. It definitely sounds like there's just no way of going through porn and getting out even as good as you came in at the beginning. Okay, great.
Well, and I'll just add that even the successful people in porn, the top people in porn, still have all these issues. A lot of them, most of them still even aren't happy. So if the successful people aren't happy and are still having all these issues, what do you think all the other people in porn feel like?
Exactly. So it sounds like it's definitely not a wise career choice for anybody, and definitely something that they will regret. Okay, so all right, you people in the comments. Did you have something else you wanted to say, Jesse?
I was just gonna say, and it's not empowering at all.
Right.
Like, I know some girls try to say, oh, I'm gonna feel empowered and this and that because I get to call the shots, I get to pick what kind of scenes I do or who I work with and this and that. But it's not like that at all. When you get to set, the director tells you what to do. It's not the other way around.
Exactly, and we
Or
actually...
even if you make your own site, it'll be the fans telling you what to do because they're basically in control of your money and they're going to be like, oh, well, I want you to do this or that. So in the end, you won't be doing what you really want to do.
Right. Doesn't sound empowering
Absolutely.
at all. Great, and we actually have a whole other video on that topic of, is porn empowering for